No gold is not in her. She's a dime.
Welcome to another wonderful edition of $1 Million Peddlers. I'm Paperboy,
And I'm Mr. Magazine.
and today's our favorite time of the week. We get to show you some great things to look out for, some things that we're able to find, so you'll be able to find them. And good luck to you, and why don't we get started? You'll bring the noise yet again.
All right, a little bit of noise, not too much. Here's one of my favorites. I have one of these in my collection. Famous Monsters, August '78. The big thing is Jaws on the cover here, but I'm a Star Wars fan, so I had to toss one in my collection.
Now, let me ask you this. Famous Monsters, they sell pretty good?
Yeah, usually, yeah.
So basically, if you were able to find a collection of magazines with monster magazines, should you buy it?
I would jump right on it.
What if the person, had 100, or had 80,000 units?
I would still buy it.
Well, there we go.
I'll buy anything. All right. And that went for like $15, I think. Not too bad. All right, next. I was actually going to throw these out a year ago. I was consolidating toys at my warehouse and trying to make room for more boxes of inventory. And they were just, I don't think I paid $5 for these things, but they're gigantic and they're heavy. Metamar wakeboarding shoes, size 12 it looks like, used, and they sold for $30.
Now, can I ask a question? Because I truly don't know.
Sure.
What is wakeboarding?
I know what wakeboarding is, I think, but you use one board instead of like it's different than a surfboard. I think it's smaller.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong, but
So they make special shoes? I mean, does it like attach to it somehow? Or?
I don't know. I got these as part of a deal. I probably would have never, bought them unless there's other stuff that came with it. I think I got them a couple years ago. So the box is gone, they're gone, and I got $30 in my pocket.
So I guess the lesson to be learned is you see something a little bit odd there, list it. You just never know. Do a little research on it and list it.
Pay cheap and don't throw it out.
There you go.
All right, next one we're going to have Paperboy. Tell us what I sold.
Original. Oh, yes, of course. I couldn't even pronounce original, and that was in English. A singing bird. I can do that. Mint and box. Oh, so roughly how big is that?
The size of a regular bird, like maybe 6-8 inches long. Vintage tin wind up. It actually, I think it took an offer like $125. Wow. I had it. I think about around a year ago or so.
Hugo Lorender? I have no idea. I probably just completely. I think I went to school with Hugo Lorender.
But they are on. That brand is on eBay, so I was able to research.
Oh, that's the brand. Okay.
Yep. So
very neat.
Yeah. The next one is a tribute to Paperboy. This is one of his favorite players growing up.
It is Julio Franco, and I think I needed that.
Signed baseball photo with certificate. He's in the Rangers uniform. That's about it.
Did you know he is, I believe, he's the all-time world hit leader?
Wow, I did not know that.
If you add in his Japanese league, his minor league, his major league, I think he played in the Mexican league for a year or two. Start adding all that stuff up, and he has more hits than Pete Rose.
Oh, pretty cool.
And he's not going to make the Hall of Fame.
Shame.
It is a shame.
Neither's Pete Rose.
Good point.
All right, lastly, I picked up a huge collection of magazines in New York City. A guy found me on my website. I hired my buddy to drive out there and pick up the collection. I did not know these were in there, but I figured from New York, there's always something good. So Q Magazine, super rare magazine out of New York. It turned into the New York Magazine later on.
Oh.
But a lot of early 70s, like celebrities on the cover. Brooke Shields when she was young. They're all, we sold a bunch of them at $50 a piece. This was the highest one, sold for $60. Sylvester Stallone is Rocky. Super cool, low production. You won't find many titles on eBay or many of this title on eBay other than me. So
I think kind of, and this is good to anybody. Let me ask this quick question. Have you ever, or had you ever seen that title before?
No.
Yep. And so when you get your area of expertise and you are in it a while, and I think we've mentioned this before, if something comes up that you've never seen before within the area of expertise that you have, you probably need to buy it because it's not common. And this is, Exhibit A for showing that. I've got something a little bit interesting that we've kind of talked about before, which is where you know the area that you're from. I've done a video about it. I stress it all the time. Know what is around the area. And upstate New York is a hotbed for lacrosse. And pick this up.
Whoa.
Thank you.
Wow,
Pro Lacrosse number 4. And the beautiful thing about that is it was from the National Lacrosse League from 1974. Cannot be a lot of them out there. It was a very regional thing. It's official from the league. and picked it up in a house call, and the guy had some other stuff as well from Lacrosse, and I just bought everything Lacrosse that I saw. Not a lot, but a few items Lacrosse. I think this was the last one here that had, that hadn't sold. So know the area. Lacrosse, you've got some diehard collectors of it. Not a lot of stuff came from this league, so it's actually kind of a neat little piece to have there. So just kind of keep your eyes for something that's around your area like that, because you can make money specializing in things around your area. Like Kodak around here. I've got an area in my store that is just Kodak items because it's so easy to find in this area. Next thing we have over here, Best Foot Forward. Now this one's kind of funny. I was sourcing in my garage, and many years ago I purchased a lot of graffiti magazines. And this is a graffiti magazine, and I actually had to cut a little bit because naughty parts of the girl were there. It's not adult by any means, except it had the cover like that, so I cropped it just a little bit to put it on. And the guy offered me $15 for it, and basically told me that I was overpriced, asking $40, because much rarer magazines don't even go for that much. And I emailed him back and I said, I respectfully disagree. This is the first one I've ever seen. It's the first one you've ever seen. There are no other ones out there, so you're not going to get any rarer than being the only one. He laughed and said, I understand your point, and he paid me $30 for it, which I was very happy with. He's also overseas, so I did get shipping on it. And he got a nice little piece for his collection. It's one of those little niche things, graffiti. I didn't even know they did magazines on them until I purchased the collection years ago, and this was just kind of the remnants that got put in the garage, never got listed. So very happy to get $30 out of it. Next thing over here, Tonka glossy photo, and I actually was at an auction, and these did not go as well as I thought they would, but I sell them occasionally. What they were is from the estate of a guy that owned like a small department store or a five and dime type deal. He got photos from Tonka, from a lot of the other Fisher-Price, various manufacturers back in the 1970s, and he got little glossy 8x10 photos telling what was coming out the next year in the line. And again, I took $15 on this. It's been listed since 2015. Actually, very surprised it doesn't sell better than it does. Yeah, it's kind of neat. I didn't pay very much for the whole pile of mid-auction, so I made my money off of them. But just kind of a neat little item. You would think that if you're a toy collector, it would be the kind of thing you definitely would want. But apparently not enough people are toy collectors. Next thing we have over here. Now this one's kind of funny. I did source this from the garage as well. Coco Joe's. Basically, it's from Hawaii. And it's like a brochure that lists some of the souvenirs that you could get from them. Coco Joe's is actually a big manufacturer of... like the little tiki cups and all that kind of little coconut things and all that kind of stuff. They're a big manufacturer. This is definitely from the 1970s. They didn't want to spend any money on printing. So what they basically did, this is like almost heavy construction paper that they folded down, that they made photocopies onto and folded it down. It is the cheesiest thing. And I made sure in my listing I noted, I said, this is not quality by any means, but it's definitely original. I mean, it definitely is from the 1970s, definitely from them. They just didn't want to buy a printer. They just made copies. Maybe they used a diddle machine for all I know. Who knows what they used. But somehow or other, they did it on construction paper, folded it down. It's not even folded nicely. It's like misfolded. I mean, it's like something I would try to do to advertise our channel. It's that bad. But again, I was able to get, I think the guy offered me $12, something like that. I was more than happy to get it out of there because it's been sitting in the garage forever. But it's just kind of a neat little piece from the 1970s. This is kind of interesting too. We have the video up where we tell you to look for hidden treasures in a deal. And sure enough, I found this. Now, it was a number of years ago that I found it, 2013. But it was inside of a playbill. And playbills are great spots. You can find advertising, all that sort of thing. I mean, this was an emergency Broadway theater directory. It just listed all the plays for that week. You just, I don't know, they probably gave it to you when you walked in and got the playbill, and somebody just stuck it in there. I listed it on its own, and I think the person offered me like $15 or something like that for it. But not bad for something that you find inside of a playbill.
Sure, exactly.
And again, that's found money as far as I'm concerned. Got a couple comic books here for you, too.
Nice.
Do the song. I know you can do the song.
Yeah, I was about to fall asleep, so I'm probably not going to be much of a singer.
Not good,
now.
Huh? I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. Doo, doo. I live in a garbage can. So anyway, I went to a thrift store and they actually had these, and they don't usually have comic books at thrift stores. And I know this isn't a particularly good title, but they had these and a few more, probably 10, 12 comic books for $5 for the 1970s. I said, hey, how do you not buy that? I went and I bought it. I listed a couple of them on Amazon, and then everything that was left over I put together in one lot and ended up selling and got $30 out of it. So that's that's not bad, little turnaround. But again, we've done a video about when you should lot, and definitely on something like this is the perfect thing to lot out. They don't go for very much by themselves. So I think there's 10 in the set if I remember right, something like that, 12, something like that. So they got more than half the set just in one deal. A couple more things over here. There we go, Rochester Times Union. First section only also.
Wow.
Only the first section.
Impressive.
$17, paid the full price. Believe it was because of the death of Lin Piso. He apparently was in line to be leader of China. I'm not much up on my Chinese history. But anything China sells. Anything China sells. Listed has got China in it. I mean, I got one section of a newspaper I got $17 out of.
Even China the wrestler, she sells too.
Yes, she does, as a matter of fact. Yes, she does. And then the last piece we have over here is just kind of an interesting piece. If you're Catholic, you understand why this sold. If you're not Catholic, you're not going to understand. It's basically a little prayer card, but it's a relic holy card. And what that means is this has a small piece of cloth on it that they went to the Shroud of Turin and they touched the Shroud of Turin with a piece of the cloth. And then they cut the cloth up into pieces and distributed it. Put it up for auction. It's been in my garage forever. Found it, listed it. $37. Can't argue with that for just a
cool.
small little holy card, a relic holy card.
How old is that?
I'm thinking it's probably 1960s, 1970s from the looks of it, something like that.
Cool.
But definitely a lot of people pass up religious things, especially the little holy cards. If you see any of them that have a relic, and you definitely can tell that they have it because it's got a little, some tiny piece of fabric down in the corner. You can probably buy a whole pile of religious cards at a sale for $1 or $2. If you see a relic card, buy it. Definitely buy one. I got $37 out of this. Most of them go for, the minor saints. You got the superstars and the minor stars.
Exactly.
The minor saints still go for $10 to $15 a piece. So definitely something or other to keep your eyes out for because you will find them. They are out there, and if you can get $37 out of one, and if you can buy a big stack of them for a cheap price, a lot of money to be made, and a lot of people walk by them. So hopefully you learned a couple of things here. We've got some neat things as always, and I'm sure we'll have some neat things next week.
For sure.
And do your part, buy my stuff, and then I'll have some neat stuff to show you in the video. Thank you. Have a good day.
Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.